Oh, I promise. I'm sure that we're gonna get into the new operators, Yana and Oryx, but Tachanka Rework, dude's got a grenade launcher. It looks like.
Dude, I tell you what they've shown us, he looks so powerful. I mean, this guy is basically launching Goyo shields around. And did you see that LMG just cutting that vaultable hole in about 3 seconds flat?
Correct me if I'm wrong. That LMG's a 2-shot kill, isn't it?
Yeah.
That surely will change, wouldn't you think?
I mean, I despise jumping to conclusion with new operators, but that Tachanka thing, I hope that he's that extreme to get people to talk about him as much as possible and get it hyped. And it looks like Pyro and Minigun Guy from Team Fortress 2 together, like Heavy and Pyro in one. You can yeet your little fire grenades and they bounce, which means now you can sit in vault in bank and you can bounce them off the wall and stop defusing with that. And once everyone's already on fucking fire, you can walk in there and hip fire your massive LMG.
Yeah. Well, honestly, I mean, there's so many things you can think of. I mean, because of the bouncing, a lot of people are saying the bouncing mechanic will make it harder to use. It's just going to add a skill gap. And once people learn how to master that, okay, think about this. Bank CEO. You have the 2 main reinforced walls. You shoot out the tops of them. You have your bandit charges on them. Throw a Thatcher. That gets rid of the bandit charges. You use one of them. You knock it up over. It lands on the other side. It goes off. You know that thermite cannot be there. A Hibana, sure, but a thermite couldn't be there. And if you have a Hibana ban, I mean, you could do that. It's how many of those rounds does he have? How long does a fire go off? We just saw a little snippet. Like it is tough to jump to conclusions, but my mind's already starting to like think about like how you could deny certain areas, and that could be really cool.
You could put mirror windows up, open the mirror windows, bounce the fire off the edge of the mirror window so it lands outside.
Yes.
There is so much stuff that you can do with this. The thing I'm going to be afraid of is if he is as strong as he is now, I have this gripe with smoke that is really difficult to explain, but I've been hating him since day one pretty much because of how strong he is and how much he brings to a team. He brings some like a guaranteed amount of time, and I know that you can push through the smoke grenades and all of that, but he has such a massive impact. He had a shotgun, he had a good sidearm SMG, thankfully been nerfed and no ACOG on. He had the C4 originally. He had smoke grenades, right? He could basically do almost everything. And I don't ever want an operator like old school smoke because it limits so much creativity on defense because you aren't forced to bring other operators. You aren't forced to make things work together. So I don't want him to be a thing where you can use this LMG to open up half the walls and then you can sit in a corner and throw fire out. I mean, we shouldn't be too panicky with the numbers and stuff. I think it showed 12 plus 9 on his grenade launcher or something down in the so it looked like he had a ton of them.
No way.
Or it was
he's legit
going to
be the best defensive operator in the game.
Yeah. Can you imagine a world in which Tachanka has the highest ban rate?
I mean, that would be. We saw him in Pro League.
We did actually
in Invitational.
Dude, that was actually amazing.
I mean, big props for that, and it goddamn worked.
Yeah, it did. That was really cool.
Maybe they should have brought him more.
Yeah, maybe they would have made it to the main stage.
Yeah, it's the ammo of that grenade launcher and just how powerful the LMG is as an anti-personnel weapon.
And it honestly makes you think, are we going to see some type of fire extinguisher operator? I know it sounds crazy, and I'm sure it won't actually be a fire extinguisher, but it's almost like they reworked fire for the Capital bolts, and they're like, hey, we've got this new toy. Let's use it a lot. And
see, I would use the raycasting, the new shrapnel thing if I was them to start playing around with that.
Like an impact.
Because that could mean that you could say... so you could say that when an explosion happens close to a fire, you intersect the fire gets like crossed with a raycast, and that destroys the fire. Because an explosion puts out fire. So that could be another interesting mechanic. So if you see a Goyo shield and you Sophia it twice, then there's no fire. But if you Sophia it once, well, then the fire will be there until it burns out. Or with a Capital, you could impact at your own feet to stop that, and you'd take the impact damage, but at least you wouldn't burn.
Just thinking aloud here, it's maybe a secondary gadget as we get more and more fire options in the game. Maybe that makes sense rather than having one. Maybe as one operator, it doesn't really make sense. To have a whole ability based around it at this stage, but as a secondary, some sort of flame retardant or something that stops
Probably
it.
Make it a
fire
extinguisher,
well, right?
an actual fire extinguisher that you pull out.
You just want a little firefighter running around going.
And then it creates a smoke cloud, and Warden can see through that smoke cloud. It's a buff to Warden. Everybody wins.
Oh.
Now Warden becomes useful. Yeah.
200 IQ Warden plays.
I feel like the whole fire thing is. I feel like they were sitting in the office in I assume Montreal, and they were making this fire propagation thing for Capital, and they finally get it to work, and they all look at each other and they go, let's put it in everything. Now Tachanka gets it, put it on a shield, put it there.
Yeah.
Make a gun that shoots fire. Let's do it.
Let's make them bounce. Christ.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you're right about the bounciness of them. That's not actually something. Well, it might make them awkward to use, but actually, it just opens up so many options of use for this particular operator.
I think that's what makes them so strong.
Yeah, like you say about sitting in the mirror spot in Bank and hitting the server wall. Yeah,
but I mean, we've seen the absolute earliest edition, and I mean, we can look at Goyo. Goyo is really, really, really strong. If we look at Invitational, he was played a metric shit ton.
Mm-hmm.
He was played so much. But we had a lot of defenders dying to Goyo shields. A lot. Yeah. We didn't see a lot of Goyo being played where his soft destruction was the intent. So where you place them in, for example, a default plant spot and the attackers have to remove it and then you play from below. So Goyo hasn't evolved yet, like, fully. I assume when Wamai and Kali gets opened up now in Pro League, you're going to see a little bit of Kali. It's not going to be that much. She's kind of a budget Thatcher. Her gun is great when you're in a 1v1 and you don't miss shots. But if there is another player there, you will always lose. You will not get double kills unless you get a collab.
Unless you collab.
Yeah. Which, by all means, man, if
up.
anyone's good enough to plan for that, I'm in. But some of these operators that looked insanely broken. Because Kali, when she was shown, I remember standing with people when we were watching that reveal, and everyone's jaw just dropped. They were like, nope, gonna be way too strong, way too strong. This is dumb. There's nothing you can do about it. It's just sheer panic. Then she comes out, and you know what? She's pretty rare to meet in game.
And
even
I
when
thought exactly the same about Dokkaebi when she was revealed. Yeah, I just thought that looks ridiculous. But then the reality of it.
I think you were right.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, yeah.
Dokkaebi is actually pretty ridiculous. She lost her frags, by the way. Well, I think we've mentioned that on the podcast that we all kind of were like, that was a head scratcher for us that she's been buffed several times in a row. Also, she did receive a buff in sync with it, though. Her DMR can now open a hatch, just like every other DMR can.
Yeah.
So that was a buff to all DMRs.
But it takes a long time.
Yeah. It's still nice. I mean, it's a nice feature.
Yeah. Well, I mean, so they could open hatches before. It's just now you have enough ammo to actually do it.
Right. It opens in like 5 or 6 shots. I think is what people are saying is that you can get it.
Same as a barricade.
Yeah. So, cool.
So a barricade took 20 bullets to destroy with every gun. Now I think it takes 6 or 7 shots to destroy a barricade with a DMR instead of 20. Because that was a big problem. You could never destroy a barricade without having to reload.
Right.
So if you're Blackbeard or, I don't know, Lion with the 417, you would, you don't open barricades. You just don't.
Yeah.
But now you can kind of justify it because it's a lot quicker.
You know, speaking of broken operators, Yana and Oryx